Welcome to Whatchu Spinnin episode 7, the singles and EP edition, Record Store Day Deluxe Redux Part 5. I don't know, whatever the fuck. Anyway, as you probably saw from the last episode, we had some timing issues, so we didn't end up shooting this until Tuesday, last week's episode until Tuesday night. And that combined with the fact that Record Store Day was yesterday, we decided to say, screw it, we're going to do singles or EPs, just like smaller albums. So we picked some great stuff. Why don't we dive into that? George, what did you pick for the people?
The Getting Off Stage Step 1. So it's actually like a 2-part like EP thing. Like there's Step 2. But yeah, the Step 1 is super cool. It was really like probably like one of the latest things that they did. I think they did something else in like 2019. Double K and Fest 1. Those two are super sick. Like I don't know, like I guess their vibe is just like really like I don't know how they manage to do it, but they make it always sound like modern but also old school, and then but also make it groovy, and it's like such a like good combination, but they never like went outside of that like lane. Like they just kept that going and it worked every time. And so yeah, this album ASAP Free Dumb Willies cracks me up a lot. I think that's probably like my favorite. Alleys is really good, and Runaway too. Saturday Again is awesome. Saturday Again gives me kind of like a more of like a gospel like vibe. But like yeah, I think like out of everything that I've listened to from them, or actually everything that I've listened to from them, just it feels like a feel good sunny day. I'm gonna go have a barbecue with the homies. Like that's like the vibe that I get off of this and every project that I've listened to from them. But yeah, unfortunately, like Double K, the bigger dude, he passed away in 2021 on January 30th. Which sucks because he was only 43. Like that's super young. And I wanted to see like what like why it happened, but they hadn't said any reason why.
Yeah, I was looking into it too, and I couldn't find anything. And like was
damn.
Yeah, I looked for a solid amount today too, because I went and listened to it again, and I was like, oh, because I'd never listened to People Under the Stairs. I'd heard about them, but I never like took the time to actually seek them out. And I was like, well, shit, homeboy's dead. And I was like, how did he die? Like, that's a really young age, and he died in his own home. So I was like, what illness did he have? And I couldn't find anything.
It didn't sound unhealthy at all. Like, I think it could have just been like a freak accident, honestly. Like, I mean, what happened to Bob Saget? It was kind of, he just hit his head and then he died. So yeah, I don't know. But what do you guys think?
I do like this album. I heard of this duo from their original album because they have like some really good, like the San Francisco song on there.
San Francisco, nice.
A good song. Like I had heard about these guys, and when you brought them up, I didn't know at first, but I recognized the picture, and I like was looking back at the discography. I was like, oh, it's the same duo.
Yeah.
And what's cool about them is they're like they make their own stuff. Like all their albums, they're like all self-produced. Like they have their own. They have some features on some songs of their albums, but it's mainly just these two. Like it's mainly just both of them rapping and both of them like producing. And they have that West Coast hip hop feel. Like some songs feel like bouncy. Like you could just like bounce to them, and other ones are like groovy and soulful.
Yeah.
So this album, this like little EP, I really did like it. I like the opening track to it a lot. The opening track, which was 100 Miles. Really liked that song. And then going into Runaway was so weird because like I was listening to it and I usually have like my volume like somewhat high when I'm listening to music. And like when the like beat comes in, it just like is so loud and it like the beat is just like a high pitch like some like instrument and it's like like it like just keeps climbing. So it like threw me off for a second. I was like, holy shit. But like it was a really good song. I liked how they like go back and forth and they're like one of them just does their bar and then a hook comes and the other one comes. And it's like the duo that they have, that one has like a lower pitch voice and a higher pitch. I think that's what's like so special about hip hop when that happens because it's like the best of both worlds.
Mhm.
Have like a duo that like comes together and do that.
And I think what like makes it like work too is because they got together in high school. Like they like and they're both producing too. And I think because they've known each other for so long, like it just got better and better. And then also that track Runaway, you listen to that no 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 no. It like if you pay attention to it, like it sounds like running away. Like the way it climbs up and then goes down, it's like screaming like escaping. It's like screaming that escape. And that track is like that's the first track that I think pulled me in the most, but ASAP Freedom Willie's.
Yeah,
I have a hard time reading that song every time, but yeah, I think that one's my favorite. But I think their chemistry, just because they've known each other for so long, it's just super cool. I think their first little EP was actually I think they were still in high school. I might be wrong, but I think they were still in high school when they did that. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting project to listen to, not gonna lie. Because of the feel that it has. And you can almost sit there, you can listen to the album and appreciate something different about it every time, I feel like. I certainly did, because I gave it a brief skim through, like I skimmed through it and then had realized I didn't finish it, and so but I was already like listening to Jacobs and Mine, so I went back and listened to it, and I almost did that, like just picked out influences the second time, because there you can identify so much different, like so many different aspects of old school hip hop and modern day, because I looked them up today. They've been around since 97, but this project came out in 2015, 2016.
2015.
And so the one thing that really stuck out to me the most, just from a general feel standpoint, was the fact that you hear all of these, like to make the example, A Tribe Called Quest. They did the We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service album.
Yeah.
And I love A Tribe Called Quest. I like a couple of songs off that album, but I don't like it as much as, say, like Midnight Marauders or Low End Theory, because they made that sound. They made their whole thing off of that sound that they had back in the early mid 90s. And then 2015 comes around and they're trying to do this album. And I understand a bunch of shit happened, like Fife Dog passed away, R.I.P.
Q-Tip, the whole Q-Tip like beef and everything.
Exactly. Like there was so much shit going on with that I felt, like it was probably rushed or something, but it was them trying to keep doing what they did back in the day, but also add modern aspects to it, and it didn't exactly work.
I think they kind of lost their essence with that.
Yeah. It was like, it was a perfect example. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And the thing that I really All right. Well, let's dive into Jacob's album. What do you got for us, pal?
Waves by Joey Badass. There's 2 songs on here. Came out in 2012, I want to say. And yeah, it's just 2 albums. It's just a single, but I think it's 2 very like important and like very impactful singles.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, like I think this should be said more than anything. Joey Badass, he was like 16 or 17 when he like wrote this and made this, which fucking mind blowing, dude. The fact that he was like that young and like did this, like this is like considered like one of his better songs because it was on like one of his better albums, his first album. And the fact that it was this good, and the fact that he even got Absol for to do the second song on it, it's insane. But I can go off on this, but I'll let you guys jump in. What are your thoughts on it?
So this fucking EP, these 2 fucking singles or whatever. You could tell how like young he is on this. Like Joey sounds so young on Waves. And Waves was definitely, and also Enter the Void was probably like amongst one of the first songs that I've heard from Joey. And like immediately, like I was hooked. One reason being that he used Freddie Joachim's Waves, which I was already like listening to this other album called Study Guides that Freddie Joachim had made. And I had heard Waves. So then when Joey used that and rapped over it, I'm like, oh, this guy is the shit, dude. Like he has good ass fucking taste. Not saying that I have good taste, but he was using something that I like, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. So I listened to that, and I'm like, dude, this guy is fucking awesome. I'm like his name fits Joey Badass. And then I listened to Enter the Void, and then that's where I'm like, dude, what the fuck, man? Because at that point, I don't think I had listened to Indigoism yet by Underachievers. So that song really highlighted what psychedelic rap was for me. I mean, obviously, there's been songs out like A$AP Rocky's like LSD or whatever. But I was like, fuck. At that time, I was just fucking dumb. And I was like, well, fuck A$AP. He's popular. I don't want to listen to him. But I listened to this song, and Absol just fucking says the most psychedelic shit fucking ever. Tell my mama I'm a shaman rhyming. Like, dude, I'm the Messiah rap. My catalog is the Bible. Oh, God. Like, this fucking... I have listened to that song so many fucking times. But it opened up, like, a new door to me. Like, at the time, like, I knew nothing about psychedelics. Nothing at all. And when I heard this, I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, what is he, the third eye? I'm like, what? And it just raised so many questions, and I learned about a lot of things, and then it opened the door to eventually Beast Coast, first Underachievers, Flatbush, and everybody else, and then Pro Era, and Joey just really opened the door for me to a whole avenue of new artists. And I think a lot of people can agree with that. And the way Joey writes is so good.
Like ahead of his time for his age. Like, it's insane.
I was about to compare him. I hate using Nas as the bar, but I mean, comparing it to him, like, Nas was 17 when he did Illmatic. And then Joey is this young and he comes out that fucking like vicious, like just fucking going at it and talking about his mom, the family situation. And over Waves, like that instrumental alone is such a good fucking like.
Yeah.
When I listened to Waves by Freddie Joachim, I already had like my own vibes and like what I was thinking about it and how it made me feel. And then I listened to Joey's and I'm like, dude, this is only making me like more like interested into Joey Badass. I'm like, yo, this is fucking crazy.
I like that you brought that up because I listen to like a lot of instrumental and like beats and stuff, and I didn't discover this till like a year ago because I discovered Freddie Joachim and I was listening to his beats, and then I heard that song show up and I was like, hey, this is the Waves song, and he originally produced it. So I was like, dude, that's fucking dope that he like produced this song and then it went on to his 1999 album.
But what confuses me and like I always like ask myself, I'm like, what happened? Because like Freddie did Freddie and Joey like talk to each other? Like did he get the sample cleared or like did he just give it to him and it was just like fuck it, you could use it? But he was like a teenager at the time, so like it surprises me that he just chose that and just fucking used it and it's fucking fire. But it seems like Freddie Joachim is such a cool person. He's just like, fuck it, whatever. Like I don't care, you know?
Yeah, but I think it's perfect that he used that because he just like his storytelling on this for like especially for his age, like him being like 16, 17, it is like insane. Like he's rapping like he's like an old soul. Like he has like lived through it and he's like this is his lifestyle and this is what he's going through and this is what he wants to be at. It's crazy because I was looking at the music video. I went back to it, and it's crazy to see like Joey and like the pro era people. Like you see CJ Fly, you see Powers Pleasant.
They're all super young.
They all look like kids, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they were. I mean, we were like, all like us being in high school, probably listening to this. Like it's just like such a weird fucking like what the fuck?
Because they were in high school too. Like they're in like the hallways and they're like rapping and they're like skateboarding like down a street and you even see Capital Steez in it, which is fucking badass. That you see like all these people. Yeah. You see like all these people and you're like, oh my god, they're like so like they're kids, dude. It's fucking insane. The fact that he like had the potential to make this song, I think it really like opened up the ears to like so many people that like the East Coast, like they have like a up and coming like heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Badass. And I mean, the rest is history from there, honestly. So
yeah, I mean, like he literally, well, I mean, thanks to Capital Steez, but because of him, his friend Capital, like they just birthed a whole new wave of East Coast bangers. That honestly, like, I feel like the East Coast was kind of like in a drought while West Coast is just fucking banging. And then finally, East Coast just like Flatbush, Underachievers, like the whole thing just fucking blew up. Like the cultural impact is just too fucking, like, it's undeniable. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, it really puts into perspective how segmented rap music has always been. Like George, you and I months ago we had an Xbox party, just the two of us, and we were talking about rap territories, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right. You had the California like Bay Area rap, and then you had New York, and that was it. And then over the years, you know, you see people pop out of the Midwest, whether it's Chicago with Kanye West, Chance the Rapper, or the Midwest, you know, Missouri with like Tech Nine, Nelly, like all of those guys.
Atlanta, dude, with fucking T.I. and Ludacris and
Migos.
yeah.
Like Outcast and all this other shit. Like
Yeah. And so for the longest time in the early 90s, it was just California, New York. Those are the only states. And now we're listening to all of these rappers from all over the place. Like Portland, Oregon has fucking Amine, who I think Amine is really talented. And then California is still shitting out rappers every day. New York's doing the same, but now, you know, with like the success of Dreamville, you've got the Carolinas really popping off, more Atlanta,
J. Cole and shit, yeah.
Yeah, Alabama with and Tennessee with like Earth Gang and Isaiah Rashad.
Yes.
And all of this stuff. And
Ramirez and fucking
Yeah, and then you could even mention Georgia and Florida with Suicide Boys and Puya, Ramirez, like all of those guys. And so it's
so there's Midwest, there's New York, there's North California, like Too Short stuff, and then there's like Bay Area shit, and then like lower LA shit, like NWA and fucking like there's just fucking literally like every like fuck Idaho, I guess.
Yeah, and now that's the that's the cool thing about it nowadays is that you could throw a dart at a map of the US and there's a rapper from there that you know. And where versus back in the day, like I had said, it was just Cali and New York and
like lower Midwest, like Ohio, dude.
Yeah.
Got people coming out of fucking Ohio, like Bones, for example. I don't know if
Yeah.
And I think also Xavier Wolf is from Ohio, I think.
Ohio or Iowa? I can't remember.
I have to fact check that.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that too. But all of that was to lead up to this was you said that Pro Era like put New York back on the map and like Beast Coast, and they really did. Like New York didn't have a lot of shit coming out of it for the longest time, and you know we were at the height back in 2012. TDE was huge. Drake was massive, and he's from fucking Canada.
Yeah.
G-Eazy, he was from Long Beach. Like,
because at the time, I think like it all fell into place because like you had like Prodigy who just fucking died.
Yeah.
And then, you know, 50 Cent isn't doing anything anymore. And then, you know, well, now we got like Griselda coming out of Buffalo. But before that, like there was nobody doing anything grimy like that either. And I think Joey Badass and his whole crew just like did something also like very different from they branched out and evolved from the gritty rap and did more like psychedelic, like, yo, let's be smarter, let's be like, we don't need to be fucking dumb, dude. Like let's fucking like do cool shit. And it was just like a really young, like with good intention type shit, you know?
Right. And it was also the era, you know, 2010 to 2013 was what I refer to. It's not like I don't know if it's a thing, but I call that like in the late 70s, early 80s, there was the new wave of British heavy metal, which you had bands like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest coming out of England and, you know, being massive. 2010 to 2013, I call that the new wave of rap music because, you know, you had Drake, Nicki Minaj, Big Sean, all those guys were getting just massive, like ungodly massive, how quick those guys had their rise to fame back in the day. And then
just rap, like, I mean, at the same time, like you had like dubstep just fucking blew the fuck.
Exactly. Yeah. Like Skrillex, Skrillex was huge.
The whole spectrum just fucking blew up of different
types. But as far as mainstream rappers went, you know, there wasn't a whole lot between like 2004 to 2010. There was like a 6-year span where mainstream where mainstream music wasn't very rap focused or very hip hop focused at all. And then 2010 came along, and that was, like I said, Drake, Nicki Minaj, like all these people came out. 2012, Kendrick Lamar puts out Good Kid, Mad City. Joey Badass comes to the frame, and I think the reason why we all, like at least the three of us, like resonate with Joey Badass and this project was it was 2012, which is when kids in high school started smoking fucking pot at way too early of an age. Like that was his.
Yeah, dude, fucking psychedelics and shit. Like there was like, it's like I talked to my friend Diego, but I'm like, because of it sounds so stupid. You guys are thinking I'm crazy, but because like I listened to shit like this, I fucking wanted to know what psychedelics felt like. And there's like a YouTube video. There's a couple actually where it's like a simulator, like an LSD simulator, and you can watch it. And basically it's just like a spiral that you watch for like a minute, and then it tells you to look away, and you look away, and like everything's like fucking moving for like 30 seconds. And me and my friend Diego would just like look at that in our study hall class, and we'd just like watch it and then just like look around and be like, whoa. But it just like, it's, yeah, dude, like I think it really just put a dent in history. Not even a dent, dude. I feel like it was big, so much bigger than that. Like,
yeah, well, because like we had said, it, like this whole movement, not just in like no discredit to Joey Badass, but you can't just pin it on him. It was Underachievers, Flatbush Zombies came out.
Yeah, of course.
Like all of this stuff really pushed New York. They were like, hey, you remember Biggie?
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
Yeah, they basically, all these guys like were putting music out, and they said, hey, remember fucking Biggie Smalls? Remember Nas? Like, yeah, here you go. We're still at it. New York ain't been sleeping.
And you know they're good because like even like Flatbush Zombies, for example, we're getting off tangents, I know, but like Flatbush Zombies, for example, like they're, I forget what it's called. Wow, their Glitter album or whatever. They had on Facts, they had Jada Kiss, dude. And I'm like, dude, Michi Darko and Jadakiss rapping together on the same song. I was just like, they're hard, dude. Like to have an old head fucking rap with someone that's literally like our age is fucking incredible.
Right.
And because the only reason why I say that is because Jadakiss isn't like a sellout type of person. Like he's not gonna get on a fucking stupid, like, no discredit to Drake, but like he's not gonna get on a Drake song, you know? Like he's gonna spit some bars and do cool shit. And so yeah, it was cool to see, but yeah, it was just really like Joey Badass is fucking great.
Yeah.
Only thing I have to say is like my final thought is I'm sad Capital Steez isn't here today because I really wish I could see what he would have accomplished.
Right. And Jake, you go ahead, and then I'll make my final thoughts.
Shit, I don't know where to go from here. we kind of went all over the place.
We did. We got off.
Sorry about that.
Like, I don't know. I think it's great singles. It's fucking killer that Joey was so young and did like such a big impact. Because when this came out, like he was on like radio shows like all over the place. Like he was on Sway, he was on fucking the one with what's his face. He was on a bunch of radio shows and like a bunch of shows.
Bro.
Yeah, he was on Ebro. He was on Sway. He was on that bald black dude. I forget his name, but he's
from Breakfast Club.
Not. And they're like New York like shows and stuff. But he was like on a bunch of them, and he would like do interviews and he'd do like freestyles. So it really like brought like
I think, and he went off.
Yeah, he would go off. He would go off on any freestyle that he got. And he's still like 16, 17. Like it's insane. And even like the lyrics to Waves, like it's crazy how he like had a vision and he like pretty much like accomplished it like at such a young age too, because he's like at one point he's like, but it's far from over. It won't stop till I meet Hova and my mama and a Rova.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
He
Yeah.
did both. Like he already did both. Like he's met Jay-Z multiple times, and he can buy like whatever he wants at this point. And it's insane that he's kind of still in between that spectrum of like being an underground rapper and like a mainstream rapper. He's like kind of floating in between. And I think that's what's cool, that he can like jump back and forth. Like he could hop on a CJ Fly track, but then at the same time be on a Tyler the Creator song, you know? Like he's like back and forth, and he's like the best that he could do like one or the other, you know?
I think he knows how to like please his fans, to be honest. Like I feel like he knows like where his demographic is. Like he has his main base, which is underground shit, but then he also like branches out. He's kind of like exploring, I feel like. He's like, yo, let me see what this fucking mainstream's about. I feel like I could have some fun. And with that, I feel like he brings in more people to the original fan base, which is underground shit. Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I gotta say. And then also the cover art is fucking awesome. Waves, and then it's like literally like waves around it.
Dude, he's got like he's got like the Casio watch, like
yeah, dude.
Oh yeah. I think just to wrap up, Jake, was the guy you were thinking of, was that Joe Budden, the radio show guy?
I gotta look up his name, but I think he might have been on Joe Budden also, I want to say.
Oh, okay. I was about to say
the New York ones that he was a part of.
Gotcha. So just to cap up, Waves was probably the most badass, like Joey badass beat he could have done. And I mean, it makes sense because it was like the first thing he ever put out. And what a way to come out, like to just pick a beat and then rap over it in that fashion and then continue that same theme throughout, because you listen to even songs off of All American Badass and B4 to Money in 1999, and it's just, this is Joey Badass. Like it's just bang bang bang. Like he doesn't differentiate from that, and it's like, dude, it's again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because it worked. Right. It worked so well.
Like if you have a formula that just fucking worked right off the bat, why fucking tamper with it? I mean, you could for the sake of experimenting, but I mean, within reason though, right?
Exactly. And also, him with Absol that early in both of their careers and them working that well together, why have they not done more shit together? You think of rapper collabs, and you listen to your favorite rapper and you're like, man, I wish they would do a song with blah blah blah. Like, I forgot to tell you this, George, yesterday. So Friday night, I had a dream about the new Kendrick Lamar album that's supposed to come out next month.
I'm excited for that.
Me too. I had a dream that there was a Boldy feature on it. And that it was.
Dude, if it did, oh my god, I would lose my fucking shit, dude.
Exactly. I had this dream. I had a dream that I was listening to it, and I was like, "Holy fuck, is that Boldy James?" And
Kendrick Lamar track featuring fucking or the beat produced by Alchemist, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Oh my god, dude.
Right?
That would be. Right? He would just body everybody on. In hip hop, Kendrick is the king, dude.
Exactly. So I had a dream about that, and you think about, to bring that up, the reason why I brought that up is that you think about, you listen to rappers that you like, and I at least do it to them, like, man, if so and so, if Kanye did a song with MF Doom back in the day, or like was on an MF Doom track, and the closest he ever got was he did No More Parties in LA with Kendrick Lamar, produced by Madlib. That was the closest we ever got to a Doom Kanye. But like, you think about those collabs in your head. Joey Badass and Absol, I never thought of. I never thought like, oh, I love Absol and Joey Badass. Like, it would be cool to get them on. I never had that thought. I do love both of them. Never had that thought to where I was like, get them on a track together.
I think it was just like that psychedelic thing. Honestly.
Exactly.
That was like literally the thing that united them.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise, like I don't think they would have worked together like ever.
Me either. And that's the thing, is the fact that they collabed and it was that good, and it was also early on in both of their careers. That's why I think it hasn't happened since. But my God, would I love to see that happen again, because that song with both of them on it is perfect. Like, they work so well together. Like, keep your chakras open. I love that fucking hook, dude. It's so good.
There's so many times where it's actually like happened. Like there's like times like when I thought we're getting off tangents. I feel like this is gonna be a long podcast. But like it's so like I love Common and I love Pharrell. I for some reason thought like, yo, I wish they would have worked together. And then I found Electric Circus. And I found like other shit that they worked together with, which was fucking amazing. And then I'm like, man, what if Pharrell worked with fucking Kanye, dude? And that shit happened on Pharrell's first album in my mind. And it's just like little things that I think like, yo, dude, if this artist works together with this artist, and when it does happen, it's just like my heart is like,
yeah.
Like I feel good.
Yeah, and yeah, it's just, man. The fact, the one kicker for me is like, damn, these guys had just started out and collabed on a song and made an absolute heater. Like,
yeah.
But that's all I have to say about it. And we are going to get on tangents because these albums we picked are short as hell. So
I'm done with this.
Jacob, any last words?
I'm done now.
All right. So for this week, if you saw last week, I picked Flat Beat by Mr. Oizo. French electronic music from 1999. Also, do not eat this record. If you ever had the idea to, don't do it. Flat Beat was actually the first song that Mr. Oizo released. It ended up being on his first album, Analog Worms Attack. But the single that I have, this is the UK 12-inch version. It's got Flat Beat, Monday Massacre, and Sick Dog Try to Speak. This is the first song that I heard from Mr. Oizo, and his entire catalog. But specifically the Flat Beat and a couple other songs were very influential to me personally and got me into DJing personally. But what did you guys think?
I fucking love this because like I have like a lot of people that I listen to that are French, and for some reason I guess in France like there's a lot of people who were into techno, and it's like very like 90s like techno. So I thought that shit was fucking tight. But Mr. Oizo for sure, like some of his tracks are like very like hip hop orientated as well. Like Monday Massacre feels like that. And he has like dirty fucking beats, like dirty like hi-hats and dirty like drums, and it just works so fucking well. And yeah, he knows how to like put shit in within, like a beat, but then he also switches it up. And it's something that reminds me of Daft Punk a lot. And yeah, no, this shit's fucking awesome. Like Mr. Oizo, like I found that through this guy named Busy P. Was just suggestion through Daft Punk. And then, also there's this album called Daft Club, which is a Daft Punk album that's really just a compilation of other French people doing remixes. Well, then also other producers. Like there's Slum Village actually did a remix of one of Daft Punk's songs, and the Neptunes as well. I would recommend that album. But yeah, Mr. Oizo, first song that I listened to was Cut Dick, and then Flat 55 was really good. I really enjoyed that one. I think it's just super interesting. I feel like he's really good at like putting beats in different places and making it work and making it fucking bang, dude. Like it's fucking good.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Mr. Oizo, believe it or not. And it's kind of bizarre to me just because I used to listen to like a lot, like back in the day, I used to listen to a lot of dubstep, a lot of EDM, a lot of techno, but I had not heard of this. And I feel like if I would have discovered this when I was really into that, I would have loved this. Because I'm like, I went back to some of his other songs, and I really like them. I really like how you kind of mentioned it. He'll stick to a beat and he'll stick to like a synth, and then he'll just like switch it up, and then he'll add like more layers to it. And it gives it like that much more like spice to like his beats. And Flat beat I really liked. I liked the yeah, I know I looked at the video. Dorian sent us a video earlier in the week of like the like whatever, what is it? Like it's like the mascot. He's like
Flat Eric.
yeah, he's like or no, he's like making a phone call. And he like puts the phone to like the microphone, and it's like he's head bobbing to it, like he's going crazy.
It's
Like,
so like that's like it's funny that like he does this shit, but it's also like very like it's so comedic but also so fucking cool. Like he has fun with music and he's experimenting and shit like that.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic, and his whole line of work is just incredible. I mean, every artist will have some misses, but he rarely does. His his talent for making music like that, and this, because it came out in 1999, had, we've talked about a lot of impactful shit. This spawned like 3 different subgenres of electronic music. You guys mentioned how he has the tendency to stick to like a backbeat and have that be the theme, but will throw different synths and different like accents over it.
Different sounds.
And you listen,
sounds, dude.
Yeah, and you listen to modern house music. You listen to DJs like AC Slater, Mala, Takami, all of these guys. They will stick to they'll stick to a beat and then add in different like synth sounds, and kind of experiment with it, and then have a more defined drop. And that's the one thing that he didn't have, because it wasn't a thing back in the day, was having drops where it's like, oh, don't.
Yeah.
Like the whole track was like that back in the 90s. But he spawned, in my opinion, he inspired all of those guys to start doing like, hey, this is how, like, techno doesn't just have to be like, you can actually be musical. You can be musical about it.
Yeah.
And you guys had mentioned Monday Massacre as also being borderline a hip hop beat.
Yeah.
Both that and Sick Dog Try to Speak are also like, I have a note here. Mellow beat switch at the end of Monday Massacre, where it has like that weird, it's like it completely pans out, and it's just like a piano beat with like a little like a little drum break. And then Sick Dog, I feel like that was almost a Quasimodo beat. Like if Madlib just took that whole track and just added some like cartoon voice lines and some scratching to it, that could have been a Quasimodo beat, like 100%. And not even just, he didn't just influence like deep house or house music, that's still very much based in that's like the backbeat for a lot of modern day house music. He also there's a subgenre called mid-tempo, and one of my other favorite DJs, Rez, is in that genre, where it's very deep but not like aggressive. To compare it, she's in between like Mr. Oizo and Excision or Skrillex. It's like a perfect middle ground, but very drivey. I'll bring up one of her albums at some point, but Monday Massacre I listened to it again this week, and I was like, oh, this definitely spawned the mid-tempo movement, you know? And to have 3 songs on one little single that some stooge like me can sit there and pinpoint, be like, oh, this actually influenced so many people, is unreal to me. It's fantastic. I love Mr. Oizo. I'm going to try to get another one of his albums, and we'll talk about him again. But
One Day Massacre like reminds me of Teachers from Daft Punk's Homework album, because it's just like hip hop like type beat. But what's cool about Teachers is because, and they call it Teachers because they're just shouting out a bunch of like DJs and producers the whole song, which they're teachers, right? You know,
yeah,
producers and DJs and shit.
that sounds rad.
That reminds me of Monday Massacre a lot. Yeah, I think just like the whole like tempo and also like octaves that's going on with Mr. Oizo. I compare it to Daft Punk a lot just because like it's something like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like it's almost like kind of like easy to track, like how many beats before it starts changing.
Yeah.
But then when it does change, or when he does add a sound, it just works. It makes sense. Like it fucking drops at the perfect time. Like it's all timing.
Yeah.
Mr. Oizo just does it perfect.
And the thing, yeah, the thing I really like about him as a whole is he, you know, you hear a lot of like modern music in general using a lot of high notes as like the melody. This guy says, fuck it, I'm using bass notes. Like in flat beat, the whole melody is whoom, whoom, like it's it's wild to me. It's like no one does that anymore, and no one has, like, it's not something a lot of people do. But other than that, those are my thoughts on Mr. Oizo. Jacob, do you have anything to wrap up?
No, I think it's really, I could see how it spawned a lot of like EDM and pushed a lot, because there is like very different types of like this type of music. There's like house, and there's like techno, and then there's like dubstep that's like more sounds like more violent and like a little like heavier. And I could see how he kind of like paved the way, because I hadn't noticed that till you guys like mentioned it. Like, yeah, like it is kind of just like the same flowing like structure wise. Like it's all just like one like same like song. There's no like up or down area with it, like where there's like a drop like in like modern like house music and dubstep music nowadays. He just kind of had like the same pace that was working for him, and that sounded amazing. And then like more and up and coming like producers and like beat makers, they would like that was, I could see how that influences them, because they like wanted to start doing drops and like start adding like switches. And ever since like that, like that's would be typical now. Like nowadays you wouldn't hear something like this. Like nowadays it's kind of like forcing like producers to put drops in like their beats.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty interesting that you guys mentioned that. And thinking about it now, I'm like, that is true. Like it kind of did kind of like force a movement, like a change to happen to it.
This EP is like really like a precursor to dubstep. I want to be honest, I fucking hate dubstep. But like this, I fucking love. Like this, I fucking love this. This is what I like. Dubstep is just an exaggerated version of what this is. And I think that's why this is the most popular fucking song from Mr. Oizo. Because like he really did encapsulate like what dubstep is now, you know? It's just a bunch of fucking beat breaks and fucking, you know, putting shit together and fucking, you know, making wild sounds. I mean, look at Skrillex. Look what the fuck he did with his shit. It was just fucking wild. It was all over the place.
Right.
But it was calculated, and that's probably the only thing that I do kind of appreciate about dubstep is that it is calculated. Each sound goes in or goes out at a certain time. And I think Mr. Oizo on this EP did that. But yeah, I think that's my final thoughts on it. Other than the puppet, I feel like the puppet is such a funny. Like I love it.
The
Flat
puppet
Eric, dude.
show, for sure.
Yeah.
Flat Eric is the shit. Trying to get my own puppet of him just to fuck with people.
That was sick.
Have him in the passenger seat of my car, just strapped up.
Talking on the side.
Yeah. But with that being said, given that this is the Record Store Day Deluxe Edition, let's dive into what we got yesterday, what we scraped together. Jacob, what did you find?
Yeah, so I was mainly looking for like one thing specifically, and they had it. It was like the only one that we saw at both of the record stores that we went to, which was kind of a bummer because I know Dorian was looking for it too. But picked up DS2 by Future. This is a great cop. Like when we showed up to House of Records, which was dope. Like when we showed up, there was no line outside, so we were like, all right, there's like no one in here. Like we're at a perfect time, and we like walk in, and there's just like people left and right, like rubbing like elbows, like just to get past people. Like
it was fucking hard to move around in that fucking store.
Yeah, packed. Like in a store that there's like some like tiny aisles, and you're like literally having to like touch each other's shoulders. So when you're walking past, like it was cool to see like how many people showed up.
Yeah.
Just look around and like, you know, like spend money on some records. But this is one of those that I was looking for, that me and Dorian were looking for. So I copped this. It was a steal. Second album I got was Sade Villain, right? Yeah. Which I had seen this before. I had kind of brushed this aside. I was like, oh, this is like an unofficial thing. Like it's not like real. Like it's probably lame. But we were listening to it at Moonrock. They were spinning this, and it really caught my attention because it was like it had like Sade instrumentals and like her vocals on it mixed with MF Doom. Like, come on, like it was badass. So I got this. So I got this. Then as well got a Section 8. Which this I had been looking for a minute. Just because like it's kind of an unofficial, so it's kind of hard to come around as is because not a lot of places will have them, and online they'll be kind of expensive. But they had that at Moonrock. Shout out Moonrock. Moonrock is the spot to go to in Eugene. Yeah, those were my 3 purchases on Record Store Day.
Made out like a bandit, and I'd like to think I did too. So Jacob got DS2 from House of Records, and I went and snagged Master of Puppets by Metallica, one of the best metal albums from the 80s. Probably, it says on the sticker, greatest heavy metal album of all time by Rolling Stone Readers Poll. It has a leg to stand on. I like some more than this, but this is like, I was 3 years old. It was 1999. Metallica did their show with San Francisco Orchestra, and my dad always tells the story of me hanging from the oven door with my hands on the oven, singing Master of Puppets. So this album, I've been listening to this album since I was fucking 3 years old.
Master.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Master. And I had been searching this down for years. Finally found it in person yesterday, so that was just so exciting to be able to find that. And then I got, to cap off my Quasimodo collection, I got the first Quasimodo album, The Unseen. As I mentioned last episode, we will at some point talk about all 3 Quaz albums, so this will be brought up at some point. And then that was my plan B if I couldn't get DS2, because as Jacob mentioned, I was looking for that. I said, fuck it. If I can find the Unseen, I'll be a happy camper. I found the Unseen after finding Master of Puppets. I got that from Moonrock. And then I got this little gem, fucking Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. Fantastic album. Did not think that I was going to see that yesterday, so I almost kept it a secret. I kept it a secret from the boys for a couple minutes because I was like, I don't want anyone to know I have this because I'm about to get fucking mugged because of the price. Like, got it for a really good price, and I've never seen that album in person. So, yeah, that's what I made away with for.
And you know, like I got imaginary Bad Not Good album. I saw it for $18, but I said, I guess I'm not gonna buy it. Credit. But and also Al Green.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
albums that I wanted to buy, but it's just like, you know, I don't have a record player, so I'm not gonna be like over here collecting records when I don't have a record player, you know.
Right. Well, George, you did do something fantastic yesterday, and we'll be showing it.
Hey.
Right now.
Could I love you more? Time was running out. Could I love you more? Oh, right now, baby.
The beat is sicker than the blood in your stool. The way it repeats could trick you like a stuttering fool, uttering butter king jewels. His mother been cool, schooled her how to wash away the crud in the drool pool. Made his chrome dome glisten. At first he couldn't tell she had a chromosome missing. Kept a spare somewhere in these underwear. He swear it helped her get the gum out her hair. They need to get their thumb out their rears and show some skills the one time they come out in years, instead of dumbing out in fears of their own shadow. In a game that swell them up to dead them like cattle.
All right. That was the video that George shot for yesterday. Fucking fantastic work. He also got some good good photos. You can follow us now on Instagram at Whatchu Spinnin. That's WhatchuSpinnin. No capitals, no punctuation. Just Whatchu Spinnin on Instagram. You can see George's video that we just showed on there, and you can also see some of the photos he took both at Moonrock and at Jacob's place when we hung out and spun some records. But what do you say we dive into next week's albums, boys? George, what do you got for us, pal?
Let's talk about you guys, because like I'm like very conflicted right now. Like I want to pick different albums, so you guys go first.
All right, Jacob, you go first. What do you got, Jacob?
Big bet. So we kind of already spun this a little bit at my place, but I feel like I have to do this. This week I will be spinning again. Pray for Paris, West Side Gun.
Yes.
This is, fantastic album. My favorite album, personally, from West Side Gun. That is my pick, and I hope you guys are ready, because it's definitely very interesting, very different, but it is, like, right up our alley for all of us that we like hip-hop, so.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And I hope y'all are ready for this next one, because it is out of y'all's wheelhouse. We've got Frizzle Fry by Primus, their debut album.
I don't know this, but this looks super sick.
Very, very interesting album. Very interesting genre of music. That is a hard band to try and pigeonhole. Much like Tool, you can't really pin a genre on them, but I made that comparison, but they are nothing like Tool, man. Primus has its own little thing that they're doing. Tool has their own little thing that they're doing, but this is way off the beaten path. I am excited to see what you guys got to say about it. George, have you made your decision?
Yeah, I think I'm doing Dots and Loops by Stereolab.
Nice.
I think based off of
Big
the
bets.
Flat Beat EP, I think in certain ways you would appreciate this, Dorian, and then Jacob, I think you could appreciate the vocals on it being soulful. So it's like a very interesting mix, but yeah, I'm picking that. Just make sure you don't listen to the extended version to pick
Okay.
Yeah,
Just standard release.
Just
Big bets. Alrighty, boys. Once again, great work, great episode. Had a blast yesterday. Again, people at home, feel free to follow us on Instagram. Whatchu Spinnin at Instagram. Follow our or add our What We Spinnin Bangers playlist on Spotify to your own playlist so you can revisit it. We do add the songs from the episode either the day prior or the day of. You can really see what we're talking about in the songs that we mentioned, because if you don't listen to the album, it's a little hard for reference. But sometimes we put a shit ton of an album in there. Sometimes we only put a couple songs. But yeah, this has been
even public. So like if someone likes a song that maybe we didn't add.
Okay. I did not know that. Yeah, feel free. If you do that, just make it from the albums we're listening to.
Yeah.
Don't try and fuck it up. We will lock that shit down if it gets out of hand.
If you guys start adding other stuff, I'm gonna make it private. Okay, do not fuck with our shit.
But feel free to save that to your Spotify library. This has been Whatchu Spinnin episode 7. We are back to full-length albums for next week. We will see you then. Again, this is Dorian, joined by Jacob and George as per usual. Have a great fucking week, y'all.
Peace out. Love you guys.